great opportunity for us to come home in front of our family, fans, Raider Nation, the Black Hole.
Raiders! Goddamn right.
What is up, Raider Nation? Welcome and good morning, Raider Nation. Good morning, Raiders. Welcome to the show. I appreciate you guys. Everybody watching, salute to you guys. Got your morning coffee going. If you don't, make sure you get that, grab that, because we have a good amount of things that we got to talk about today. But this is the inaugural show, that my Saturday morning show. Good morning, Raiders. We're going to be doing this at least weekly for the next month, and then we're probably going to jump into every other month format after that. But because we still have things to cover in the off season, we have free agency. The draft is literally almost right around the corner. We got Black Monday, so and we have some questions regarding that that have to be answered, and hopefully we get them answered this coming Monday. And so we have a lot of things, a lot of questions. Obviously, offensive coordinator, what is that going to look like? Who are they going to bring in to go ahead and help out on the offensive side of the ball? So there's a lot of things that we got to go ahead and talk about, y'all. But yes, this is a weekly show that I'm gonna be doing Saturday morning at 10 a.m. Pacific. It'll be 1 p.m. Eastern, so not good morning for them. But I am a Mountain Time, so it's still morning for me. But again, thank you guys for watching. Thank you guys for joining on the show. I appreciate you guys. I'll make sure you guys hit up that chat, light it up. Chat lives do matter. But let's go ahead and get into it, y'all. Saturday morning, let's wake up, bring the energy. Obviously, if you guys are new to the show, make sure you guys hit that like and subscribe button. I am at 85 followers, trying to get to 100. Hopefully, this show will go ahead and make that happen. So please make sure you guys hit that like and subscribe button. If you've seen the show, make sure you hit that like button as usual. But without any further ado, let's go ahead and get into it, y'all. So we have a possibility of going on a 3-game winning streak, ending the season at 5-12. That's a real possibility, y'all. There's a possibility. I don't know how big it is. It still really hasn't been said yet. I think we might find out today. But the Chargers might go ahead and sit out their starters. I know that's something we've been I've covered it on previous shows. But if that's the case and they sit their starters, we do have a real possibility of winning. We still have a possibility of winning, whether they start them or not, obviously. But that percentage does go down, obviously, if Herbert and them are starting tomorrow. I personally hope that they start their starters, not because we're looking to lose, but it'll be much sweeter when we do beat them, because you want to go ahead and go out and beat their best and send their balls in the sling going into the playoffs, right? With a loss by us, one of the not good teams in the NFL, probably one of the worst teams in the NFL, right? Currently, with a 4-12 record, you know, suffering a loss like that, an upset in an away game, is going to be much sweeter. Obviously, we start the 2025 season on a high note, right? We did that last year with Denver. We beat them at home, I believe, and we started off this season the right way, but obviously that wasn't the case. But with the division rival, you always want to go ahead and give it your best. It brings something out of these guys. Obviously, we have no love lost with the Chargers, all 10 fans and whatnot. But for the players, it's multiplied tenfold, right? Because they play these guys twice a year, talk a lot of shit during the field, talk a lot of shit off the field, and so um, that's personal to them, obviously, right? This is for bragging rights. This is for pride. Obviously, not only some of these guys are playing for their future, right? Whether it's with this team or a different team, they're trying to put their resume out there, and so you want to go ahead and leave it all leave it all on the field, so that way other teams can go ahead and look at you and possibly get picked up. Obviously, staying on the team would be preferable, but these guys go out and give it their all. So expect a really tough fought game tomorrow by the Raiders. We don't know what the Chargers bring. We don't know if they're going to lay down, if they're just going to go ahead and kind of coast because they've already made the playoffs. If they start their starters, they're really going ahead and fighting for that fifth seed, right? So I believe that fifth seed, um, they would go ahead and get a home field game for their first game in the playoffs, right? So that's what they're fighting for. If they lose, then they have to go ahead and travel for the first playoff game. So that's a question: is are the Chargers going to go ahead and start their starters tomorrow? Either way, don't make no difference. Um, we'll still go ahead and bring it to them. But the possibility of a third game winning streak is real. Raiders going on a run late, late in the 2024 season. I'm pretty sure we all thought that um, they were most likely uh, going to stick to the 2 wins. Uh, you know, we didn't win the last time we won before the Jag game. We won in September. I think it was like week 4 against the Browns. That was the last win. That was the last win. So for you know for us to win back to back games and then possibly winning against the backups, second string, third string of the Chargers, or going out and beating Herbert and them and his starters are a real possibility. AOC is going on a run. He's been playing really good the last 2 games, mistake free last game, and he showed out. He showed out, and for him, it looks like he might be the guy. He might be the guy moving forward in this next year, right? He might be that bridge quarterback that we've been talking about. To whoever we draft, will most likely go ahead and sit behind them. And we'll talk about the draft in a bit. But I, of course, always salute to the nation. I want to go ahead and hit up the chat. Uh, Salute to my brother, Jeff, New England Boosters. Appreciate you watching, brother. But yeah, Week 18 in Vegas. That is a home game, y'all. I believe that's a 1:30 game tomorrow. So I'll still be watching. I hope we win. Like I said, these division games, um, they're a different beast. You see a different side of the team come out. They play with more heart, more passion, because it is that rivalry game, right? So um, you know, I said that AOC has been, having a 2 or 3 game good performance, and it looks like he might be that guy that he's going to go ahead and be a part of the 2025 season moving forward. So is I think he's already been named by AP as a starting quarterback for this next coming year. Now we have questions around that, and we're going to go ahead and touch base on that in just a few minutes. But do you guys think, and you guys on the chat, let me know. I want to hear your thoughts on this. Do you think AOC is going to be starting in 2025? Let me know. Let me know on the chat what you guys' thoughts. If AP stays, um, most likely that will be the case, right? Um, and whoever the offensive coordinator is, most likely we'll have him to go ahead and lead the offense going into this next season. But if AP's out, that might all change. You might see AOC get sat again in this next season coming up. So there's some questions behind that. But as of now, I think AP had mentioned that he's most likely going to be starting next year. So that means whoever they get at quarterback, whoever they draft at quarterback, is going to be behind Aiden O'Connell. And that looks like that's the direction that they're going to go. Now, obviously, we really haven't seen a full season of Aiden O'Connell. It's always been patchy. Obviously, when he took over from for Jimmy Glass, he had a pretty good performance. And then obviously this year he didn't start. It was Minshew who got the nod to go ahead and kick off the season. And we really didn't see him until about week 3. He got some garbage time versus the Panthers in that shitty game, but even though he looked decent, right? But obviously, it's having the reps, it's going out there and starting the game, and you go ahead and getting your rhythm. And now we're seeing AOC put on good performances. The biggest thing here is that there really hasn't been any mistakes on his part in this last few games. Last game, no interceptions, no fumbles by him. Yeah, he's gotten sacked, but he hasn't let go of that football. So that's the important thing. And with Minshew, we've seen what that looks like. It's a shit show from almost beginning to end. Interceptions, fumbles. He's just a turnover machine. So we're seeing the difference in the two, and because of that, and because of the good performances, that's why they are looking at him to go ahead and start on this next coming season. But again, let me go ahead and salute the chat. I appreciate you guys. SoCal South, thank you for watching, brother. I appreciate you. Raider D, man, AP's ass ain't gonna even be here next year. And if he is, AOC starts, proves it why his dumbass should never be a head coach again. All right. That might, obviously, we don't know. And that's a big question. We ain't going to know until literally next week, Black Monday. If nothing has been said by like maybe Tuesday, maybe Wednesday, he's staying. But we might hear something right away. We might hear something from at the end of the game. You never know. It might be that type of situation. So I'm not an AOC fan. I'm not an AOC, but the facts are this kid is playing decent. He's going out there helping to put wins together. We finally broke 20 points the other day, and thank God, because I never thought we were going to go ahead and hit above that 20-point glass ceiling, right? But yet he's helping to do that, right? Shout out to James with the Raiders. Appreciate you, brother, for being on. Salute, my guy John. Welcome. But yeah, so again, AOC looks like he's most likely going to start in 2025. Obviously, the whole AP being here does play a factor to that, because that's his guy. And I think now if he does say he's going to make that more adamant, and doesn't matter who we're gonna draft, they're most likely going to sit behind him, right? He's the most experienced quarterback. He has familiarity with the team, with the current system. Obviously, they have to gut that system for him to kind of restart, right? But it all depends on the offensive coordinator, what type of system they're going to go ahead and implement. Um, it might be completely different. They might take pieces of the current playbook. We never know. We don't know, right? So, but looks like most likely Scott Turner is going to be out at the end of the season. So this might be his last game. He most likely is going to go to North Carolina with Belichick. I mean, that's at least that's the current rumor, right? He's being looked at by him to go ahead and be his coordinator over there. So I don't see the Turners particularly sticking around. So obviously that you know who they bring in as coordinator, that's the other big question as well. But obviously for AOC to start, obviously it depends on AP and uh, is AP on his way out? Um, I don't know. I've been trying to read the whole situation. I've been trying to read AP. I've been trying to read certain things, but I can't get a feel for it. Honestly, I think he should stay because this is his rookie year. Obviously, um, he didn't get that team built together for him. You had it band-aid with Gardner Minshew. You had it. You didn't go out there and draft your quarterback, right? And you had to bring in Minshew for that. Um, you lost Devontae Adams, so you lost your wide receiver one. Now you have to rely on Jacoby Myers and Brock Bowers, but and you had no run game, no run game. Madison and Zamir White started off super slow. Eventually, that that took steam later on in the season, but there was no real run game. That you didn't get the offensive coordinator you wanted. You wanted Kingsbury, that fell through, right? Couldn't guarantee him a lengthy contract. Couldn't guarantee him a draft pick. Bye bye, sayonara. That guy's in Washington getting ready for the playoffs himself. And you see what they're doing, right? They got Jaden Daniels, they got Kingsbury. They're doing everything right. Um, and they set themselves up for a great season this year. And we didn't. You got all these injuries, mind you. All the injuries for that stem from was it week 3 and on, where we have almost three quarters of our starting players out on IR. How are you going to go ahead and try to put wins together, right? Obviously, there are some questions and mistakes that happened with the game management, challenging plays, calling timeouts. Um, I've talked about this where sometimes he calls a timeout randomly, and we're all here scratching our head like, what, what was that about, right? And those type of things. Him not really taking assertiveness and really uh, putting his if he wants to go ahead and run the ball and he wants to make that more a prerogative, that really wasn't pushed to his coordinator. To his coordinator, sometimes that does get lost in translation a little bit, but we saw that with him and Getsy, right? So a lot of that we saw this season, right? But obviously, the injuries are the biggest thing here, where we're literally getting guys off the street to come in and play. Why do you think they haven't got rid of Charles Snowden? Right, he had that DUI last month, and he's still on the team. Now, normally teams cut him for that particular reason. They haven't because they still need bodies to come and play. Injuries are still going on. Obviously, we're at the last game of the season. So if once the season's over, obviously we're probably not going to see Snowden again. I don't know what that would if that would actually happen or not. my guess is that he's probably gone. But scenarios like that where we're having to piece together guys to come in and fill in the wide receiver role, uh, in linebacker role, or cornerback or whatever. That's been that type of season, and so it's hard to go ahead and expect your head coach to go out and put a winning season together with when you have so many injuries like that. But I don't know. Again, let me know you guys' thoughts on this. Again, if you guys are watching the show and you are new to the show, make sure you guys hit that like and subscribe button. I'm at 85 subscribers. Let's go ahead and get to 115 away. So make sure you guys are hitting that subscribe button. Turn on your notifications. I am doing shows 2 to 3 times a week, so make sure you guys are tapping into that, dropping shorts as well. So make sure you guys are go ahead and turn on your notifications for that. And of course, to my regulars, to my ride or dies, make sure you guys hit that like button, please. But let's go ahead and hit it to chat. And again, appreciate you guys. Chat lives do matter. And my boy SoCal Sal. First, best player available. Second, Jackson Dyer. We're talking about the draft. We'll get into that in just a second. But yeah, like I said, I don't know if AP is going to stick around. You know, this is the thing. If they do, who's going to replace him? That's the next question, right? Who do you bring in if AP is truly out the door? I don't know, but Raider D. The case for AOC from these fans is, while we can name one good team, that AOC went out there and proved that he was number one, because most of his wins, defense bailed us out, or AOC killed the third strings. Yeah, you know, I mean, this is my thing. When I say he's starting, I'm saying that because he's the one that we have, right? Um, he's already familiar with that system, but is he that long-term solution? No, he's not. I've said that before many a times. Um, we have to go ahead and get our quarterback for the future. We have to get our franchise quarterback. Unfortunately, AOC is not. I know AP thinks that he's going to be that starting quarterback in the NFL, like a long-term thing. I don't see it that way. We've seen that. Has he progressed? Yes, he's progressed, and that's great. That's what we want. That's what you want to see in a player. But would he be that guy that you know takes you to the Super Bowl and gets you that Super Bowl win? He's most likely not going to be that guy, right? Let's just be real. So that's what I say. I say it's just all dependent on whether he stays or not. Um, and because I think O'Connell has about another year or two in his rookie contract, and then after that, I think he'll be a free agent. And whether the Raiders sign him or not, that'll be a different case. Obviously, it depends who we draft and who will be there. Raiders can always keep him as that good backup quarterback, because that's what he is. AOC is that proven backup quarterback. We know that he can go ahead and come in and put up a pretty good game. Permitting circumstances, right? But that mobility is really what kind of hinders him. But salute to my guy Billy Davis. Appreciate you, brother. Thank you for watching, as always. But let's go ahead and move in to my next topic. Obviously, if, like I said, if AP goes, who is going to replace AP? Who's going to replace AP? You guys let me know your thoughts on this, right? Um, because obviously there's been names thrown around. Obviously Ben Johnson is one of them. Mike Grable uh, is probably the leading candidate for that. Um, and Patrick Graham. Patrick Graham is another one, surprisingly, right? He's already taken some interviews for I believe I don't know how many he has done already. I think he's done one, but he's done head coaching interviews. So we know where his mind is at. He's another defensive minded coach. He's uh he's already familiar with the team. He's already familiar with the players, right? So he might not be a bad alternative, but in this game to be competitive in this division, we might need an offensive minded coach. So again, you guys let me know your thoughts on this. But before I go into the chat, I have a special guest. I got my brother, my co-host from my Wednesday show, the Raider Connection. So make sure you guys tune into that. We are still going on. We're still going to be doing the Raider Connection in the off season every damn Wednesday for the time being, right? Uh, and we're going to be covering different aspects. Obviously, we still got free agency, got the draft, we got coaches coming in as we're talking about that now. So make sure you guys tune in. Again, make sure you guys hit that subscribe button. And we're doing that every damn Wednesday. It's Cheeto Linus, LV Raider 10, and my other co-host, Jeff New England Raider Booster, Mr. Jeff New England Raider Booster.
That's a little crooked.
Thanks for coming on. Yeah. You gotta get
What's up? What's up? How are we doing this morning? Good morning. Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning to
good afternoon
West
for me.
Coast
Good morning for you guys.
Yes. Good afternoon to the East Coast family. West Coast, they're still having breakfast. It's still morning time for me. I am on Mountain, so still morning time for me. But yeah, so I was talking with everybody right now. Obviously, we don't know if AP is going to be on his way out. We'll most likely know that next week. If not, maybe Sunday. I don't know. But obviously, if he goes, who is going to replace him? And I threw some names out there, but tell me, what are your thoughts on that? Who do you think would replace Antonio Pierce if he
It's
does
a good
get let
question
go?
because, yeah, it's definitely a good question because there's so many different directions that we can go from here with this. And like you said, it's Black Monday, but in our case, it could be Black Sunday. Because we are playing at home. It would probably be easier if they're going to part with him to do it right after the game on Sunday rather than have him come back on Monday and all that other crap. If nothing happens immediately after the game, if he makes it till like say Tuesday evening, then there's probably a good chance he's not going anywhere, and then they'll probably come out with an announcement that he's staying. I don't want him to go, to be honest with you. Sorry, my dog's starting to bark. It must be a leaf blown by the window. I'm fine with him staying. I really am. But if he does go, I mean, yeah, there's names that have been thrown around. The most obvious one that everyone's been throwing around, obviously, is Vrabel, which I wouldn't be opposed to that. Obviously, I mean, that's the guy. If we're going to lose AP, that's who I would want as priority to pull in here. But now there's talk of, because I mean, I hear it more now around here because of where I'm located. But now there's talks of possibly the Patriots moving on from Jared Mayo already after one season.
Oh wow!
And possibly bringing Vrabel in. I don't know how true that is. I don't know if it's just Pats fans being like some of our Raider fans where they're just trying to stir shit up.
Yeah.
Just trying to make headlines, but I don't know. There's so many different options. Priority would be him. That's who I would want, and I think that's the consensus amongst most of the people that you and I interact with on here. Would be somebody like Vrabel. Do you want to take a chance on a first time head coach coming in as an OC or a DC from another team? We've been that route before. I don't know if I want to do it again. I'd rather have a proven commodity that can win games in the NFL. But based on that criteria, we're a little limited.
Right. Yeah, we are limited. Going to the chat, Jack thinks Grable is the same as AP. Rather have Patrick Graham as
I
the
wouldn't
head
be opposed
coach.
to that either. I
Yeah,
really
like I
wouldn't.
said, he's familiar with the team. He already has relationships, at least with the offense. It would be more. They would really get to know each other. Obviously, one if he does come in as head coach, and that's a real possibility. That we keep Patrick Graham, but maybe as the head coach, and that's a real possibility. But uh, my opinion says Salah would be a great addition, even if it's just as a DC. I agree. I hope that we're able to go out and get Robert Salah. I think he would be if you get PG to move up to head coach. We could bring in Robert Salah as DC, and I think that would be a good fit right there.
Well,
Um,
my
Jo-
my take on that real quick. If for some reason Patrick Graham is a possibility and he does say, let's say he takes the job, you don't even really have to bring in a heavyweight as far as a DC coach, because you could take
Mhm.
a chance on like Leonard that's on the roster right on the coaching staff right now. Move him up, because with Patrick Graham being a defensive minded coach, obviously, and being your head coach now, he'll be able to work more one on one with him. I would be more concerned about pulling in a heavyweight on the OC side
Yeah,
with
you might
Patrick
get that
Graham.
power. Yeah, you might get that
Yep,
power struggle, and
yep.
and I like. Yeah, I
Yeah,
like
I
what you
love
said.
Salah. I think Salah is a solid move,
Mhm,
but I would rather take a flyer on, like, give Leonard a shot with him working directly with Patrick Graham. That could be something beautiful in the future.
mhm.
You
Yeah,
could already have your in-house replacement at some point down the line if you groom them right.
right.
You
Yeah,
know,
and then that would make. I like what you said. That makes really good sense because obviously Patrick's mind's going to be on the team overall, but he's still going to be involved heavily in that defense. He just needs somebody to go ahead and relay that message and really look at the little things, and that would be Leonard, right? And you already have familiarity with him.
yep.
He's already getting direction from Patrick Graham, so you're not it's not a big stretch, right? It's not a whole readjustment where you're having this new guy, you got to fill each other out, kind of see the coaching styles and personalities and all that. You already have that relationship between them too. Um, John says Patrick Graham did not resign. Not sure if he wants to be here. I don't think that's entirely true. Again, this could be because he might have that head coaching option in his kind of in his pocket. So whether he stays or goes, obviously, if he goes, that's where we can really go after like Robert Sala. If AP goes and Patrick Graham interviews for that job, maybe that's where they actually give him a new contract where it's a head coaching contract, right? So that could be done. That might have been done for different reasons, right? Jack says, I don't think PG didn't get re-signed yet because he's waiting on who's going to be the next head coach. But
And
yeah,
I think that is probably, you know, the other issue, because you don't know the stability of going forward until after tomorrow's game and the few days following that, what's really going to happen,
hmm hmm right,
you know?
exactly. Yeah. Um, my opinion, Rabel is a good pick as head coach. And obviously, he's probably one of the top contenders if AP's is really on his way out. Um, salute to Robert. Do they fire AP Monday? I don't know. That's the question, and we should know either. We might
What's up,
know.
Robert?
We do.
How you doing, buddy?
If something gets announced on Sunday, we know for sure. We might have to wait till Monday or Tuesday. But if we're not hearing anything after Tuesday, that possibility of him being actually on his way out might not happen. Um, but obviously, that's just my opinion. That's our best case scenario. That for AP, that he's probably going to stay if nothing's been said or mentioned on Tuesday, right? Um, Jason says Brian Flores will be perfect as a defensive coordinator. Him and AP will bring a lot of attitude. Possibly, possibly. We don't know Patrick Graham's situation again. He didn't sign that extension, right? So this will be his last game on Sunday. After that, we don't know what the future brings for Robert. I'm sorry for Patrick. Whether he might always resign and might just be trying to get a better contract, or he might actually go out to a different team. We don't know. Again, when it comes to contracts, when it comes to money, there's a lot of strategy. There's a lot of head games involved with that because you're trying to get as much money as you can, right? You're not trying to, just takes what's given to you. You're trying to get your best contract and your best, as much money as you can out there. But Billy says they need to keep AP. We don't have a quarterback, and we do got holes on our team too. So, yeah, but if but yeah, I don't know. I don't know if he stays or not. But I mean, the other rumor that's out there right now, right, is a whole JJ McCarthy trade rumor. Now I don't know if this is a realistic thing. I honestly don't think so. For many reasons. Obviously, for one, the Vikings really went out to get this guy, right? Um, and yes, Sam Darnold has been balling out. They're the top contender in the NFC alongside Detroit. And this guy blew out his ACL, right? That's the second thing. This guy blew out his ACL. We don't know if he's going to be the same. He could be worse. That's always a possibility when you come out of, uh, you know, an injury like that. He might not be that same player. And I don't see the Vikings letting him go. To be honest with you, this is their they have him there. They got him for a specific reason. They're
Hmm.
trying to do that Michael Penix thing, and that's kind of what it looks like, and that most likely will happen next season too. So I don't know if that's a realistic thing where we trade a first or a couple first rounders for this guy, right? A guy really we haven't seen much film on. The only time we really got to see him was in preseason, right? I don't think he played. I think he got injured in our game, right? I don't remember, but I know he got injured in preseason, and nobody saw him after that. So there's limited.
Was it
There's limited.
preseason or did he at least start game one? I thought.
I don't remember. I don't remember. Um, let's say he did start game one, but uh, it's limited. His playing time in the NFL is very limited, so he's not
Well,
proven yet. You
no,
know.
and you got to look at it this way too. They drafted him for one reason only, to be the future of their team. That's the reason they picked him when they picked him.
Mhm.
It just so happened that he got hurt. Donald went off and had a great season. If I'm Minnesota, I'm not getting rid of either one of them. I'm re-signing Donald, and I'm going to play the hot hand until we know for a fact that McCarthy is going to be positive and good to go after that knee injury.
Mhm.
Because those are no joke. When you blow your knee like that, that's no joke. You don't necessarily always come back the way you were prior to. Um, so for security purposes or for for a safety blanket, I don't see them getting rid of McCarthy because they're going to be right back in the same boat again. Now they're going to start thinking about who they're going to draft again. Whereas
Mhm.
if they drafted him with that intent, they're not going to get rid of him. They'd be crazy to get rid of him. I don't care if I know I don't want them. I don't want us to take him because I don't want
Yeah.
to give up draft picks for him. I think it's a wasted waste. I don't want to draft the
Yeah.
other two quarterbacks that are in this draft, let alone give up a draft pick in this draft for a quarterback that A is suffering from a severe knee injury. Don't know how he's going to come back from that. And he hasn't even played,
Mhm.
other than preseason. In preseason, you really can't put a lot of stock in how good a play is truly going to be. It's not until usually by game 3 of a regular season where everything starts to mesh, and then you can go from there. Even like I said, the first 2 games are that still feeling out phase.
Yeah.
Once you get this to week 3 and beyond, that's when everything starts clicking and, the familiarity with the first team and everything. I don't want them. And I want us to get that whole, I agree with, just squash that whole goddamn thing.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
I think it's a waste. It's a waste.
Yeah. So Sal says, Vikings aren't trading McCarthy. He's on a rookie contract. I think they can still trade him even if
They can do what they
he
want
is in
with him,
contract. Yeah, they can do what they want.
whether he's under
We would
contract or
take
not.
that
They can
contract
still get
over
rid of
basically.
players.
Yeah, yeah. But realistically, like we said, we don't see that happening. It's just they went out and got this kid for a reason. They want him to be their future in Minnesota. So for them to just trade him away for and kind of restart that process, I don't know. I don't really see that, right? They want to see what they have in him, and they've only gotten like a little bit of him, so they really haven't really tapped into him um, quite yet. So I don't see, I don't say the Vikings moving on from him. Um, Jason says I take McCarthy, but not for a first round pick. That's probably what's going to take
I wouldn't take him for any pick.
if that's the strategy of the Rays. Don't see again. I don't think that's a realistic thing. Um, for us to go out and get a guy JJ McCarthy who has a knee injury, it's kind of a bit of a stretch, right?
Yeah.
Um, Fear says Viking not trading him. Why would we trade for damage good? Exactly. Um, Jack says, squash McCarthy rumors. Rather not spend the draft capital on sign Justin Fields or Watson. Yes, that makes sense. They're not gonna can't get Watson. Watson just got restructured, so he's staying in Cleveland. But yeah, Justin
I
Fields. That's kind of something
I
where
I
it's
would
more realistic.
I would I would actually be okay with Fields now
Mhm.
if we brought him in.
Right.
I still want ALC 12 to be to be the guy for next
Hmm.
year without a doubt. We want to bring in another veteran. That whatever, that's fine. But you got to go into this off season and into OTAs with one guy in mind, and then you go from there. None
Right.
of this. We'll see what happens. Crap. No, you name him the starter. Gives him the confidence to get his get his footing ready, and to get him ready for the season. If he
Yep.
goes into the off season knowing that he's the guy next year, as of right now, that gives him confidence, and that's what this kid needs. He needs confidence. AOC 12 needs confidence based on how this season turned out. You
Oh
know,
yeah. 100%. And I don't like. I mean, obviously they had that quarterback battle with him and Minshew, and um, him he just probably didn't have a good camp, and that's what it looked like. Obviously, we're seeing a different side of AOC now. We're seeing more of a progression, and like I
hmm
said, it's a good thing that we're seeing that progression. We want to see that in a player. We want him to evolve and try to get better. Whether he's here long term or not, still it doesn't matter. Uh, his time here, we want him to progress and constantly get better. I agree that there should be, if you don't announce it now, you should announce it in OTAs. All right, this is our guy. Once you get your quarterback situation figured out and you've had already a camp and you compared the two, if you're going to go with the guy, you can stick with the guy. And that's it. Whether it's him or not, you get that's only to be fair and to give that confidence boost going into next season. It's really important. And it was literally down to the last game that we finally knew who was going to start that week one, right? And I think when that happened, it did take something away from both quarterbacks. So you have to do it early. You have to know who you're going to go with, early on, right? But
yeah.
going back to the chat, if we trade 2 first rounds for McCarthy, it's time to get rid of the owner. I agree, and he's probably going to be on his way out the
If we
next few
trade
days.
him
But
for a
also,
ham sandwich, it's time to get rid of the owner.
I
Let
know
alone
shit
two
for
first
Magic
rounders.
Beans.
Good God.
For Magic Beans, man, come on.
That's more than
Um,
what that's more than what they paid for when they got him in the first place. That's ridiculous for an
I
unproven.
know,
That
yeah,
I know that's not what he's saying we should do. I know he's saying if we do, the owner should be like, oh, anybody that would even come close to even entertaining that. If I was the Vikings, I'd be like, you sure you want to do this? You really want to give up 2 first round? We'll take them, but
yeah,
uh,
yeah.
God, I just
Man.
I don't know why some fans are just so they're so done with ALC 12 already. You really haven't even given him a chance.
Mhm.
You know, based on just how he ended the year last year, you had to feel good about the position going forward. I know I did, and then all of a sudden here comes Minshew. I
Mhm.
figured, all right, they're bringing him as a veteran, but they're paying him some good money. That's why I wasn't fully surprised that they named him the starter at the beginning of the season instead of ALC 12, which they had thought they were going to do. So that was a failed experiment. So it's like I don't know
Definitely.
why people are so sour on this kid. He's still better than some other starters out there in this league. You
Yep.
know,
Yep.
like when everybody was jumping on the let's bring Daniel Jones in after he got let go by the Giants. Like, you think that's an upgrade from AOC 12? Are you shitting me?
Yeah.
Do you
That's
even
a
watch the game, or do
downgrade.
you just sit there like this and listen to it and just pray to God you know what you're talking about? Just watch a game.
Got it.
Sometimes I just wonder what people even goes through their mind before they throw these verbal just nonsense out sometimes.
Yeah, I think
I don't get it.
yeah, yeah, I think sometimes some fans are just trying to grasp at straws to see what takes, right? They
Yeah.
want that hope with just an awful season to try to, you know, get behind something that will, make make the Raiders great again, right? And I think
Yeah,
that's
it's
I
sort of
think
like
that's what happens. That shiny new toy. Like I think you said that one
yeah,
time, man.
yeah.
I was like, that's so
It's
true.
sort of like a mechanic at a real shitty garage that doesn't know what's wrong with your car, but just keeps ordering parts and throwing them at the car till something finally sticks and it works fine.
Like, okay, I
That
figured it out.
that's kind of the same thing here. It's like
Yeah,
let's just keep throwing shitty quarterback after shitty quarterback at this team and see what finally sticks to the field and looks good. You
right.
know,
Yeah,
I just don't get it. I don't
yeah.
get it.
But I mean, there's another rumor, right? From the Vikings still, that maybe the Raiders go out and try to get Sam Darnold. Sam Darnold is a free agent after this year. I know somebody on the chat said that he got re-signed, but he hasn't gotten extended yet. Jason said that he's extended with the Vikings. That's 3 years on JJ, not playing on injuries. That hasn't happened yet. So, the likely yes, obviously the Vikings will go ahead and try to extend him, but there's no guarantee that will happen. Just because he's had such a great year, this might be a bidding war. This might be
Oh,
where
I agree.
whoever has the largest check might get this guy. So it's not 100% that he stays in Minnesota. We don't know his real thoughts behind that, whether he rather stay in Minnesota or he's just like, hey, where it pays me the most, that's where I'm going, type thing. So you guys, let me know your thoughts on this. If you guys want to see Sam Darnold or you think Sam Darnold will come over to Vegas if the price is right. I mean, obviously, um, trying to go out and get a guy like this is probably going to cost his arm and a leg. Um, I'm thinking, right?
It's going to do a
But
number on our salary cap.
yeah, but if you're going to go out and get this guy, you're gonna keep him here for a while because you got to make it make sense. You got to make it worth it. You can't keep him here for 2 seasons and then let this guy go. If you're gonna commit to this guy and pay this guy a ridiculous salary, you got to have him at least here for the next 5, maybe 6 years. And then if he still works out, you extend him, or if he doesn't, at that point you let him go. But this if they decide to go for Sam Darnold, it cannot be a one season fix type thing. This has to be looked at a long term thing. That means
You got to
that means
commit
if
to him.
you if you commit to Sam Darnold, you're not looking to draft a quarterback. And I think then we'll know our answer on this whole Cam or Shadur or quarterback draft in the next draft. You can still draft a quarterback, but they're not going to. That's not going to be their top pick. That's not going to be their first order of business in this draft. They're going to go off for somebody else, and they might draft their quarterback at the second or third round, uh, type thing. But Sam Darnold is an investment for the future. If that's the direction, not necessarily would that happen. And if it would happen, it would cost a lot of money. But let me go ahead and hit the chat again. If you guys are watching the show, thank you guys for being on. I appreciate you guys. Make sure you guys hit that like and subscribe button. As always, I'm at 85 subscribers, trying to get to that 100 subscriber mark. make sure you guys go ahead and hit that subscribe button, turn on your notifications. Me and Jeff do a weekly show, the Raider Connection, every damn Wednesday, and we're still doing that in this off season coming up. So make sure you guys tap into that. Make sure you go onto my guy's page here, NE_ Raiders Boosters. Give him a subscribe. Make sure you turn on notifications for the stuff that he go ahead and post up, because I know you do stuff randomly. So you guys got to make sure you guys tap in and stay up to
like last
date
night, I
and
just
that.
popped on for a couple hours last night
There
because
you
I was
go.
just sitting there staring at the TV. There was shit on TV, so I'm like, screw it. No one's on, so
Yeah.
just
So
jump on for a little bit.
I do that sometimes too. So make sure you guys turn on notifications for sure. But let me go to the chat. Sal says no to Sam Darnold. Too much money. He'll look like he did in New York, and we have no OC and no O line. I don't know about the O line part yet. It's looked like that's starting to come
50-50.
together. 50-50. Way fucking better than the beginning of the year. It looked atrocious at the beginning of the year. But that's one good thing that Joe Philbin done, and the Turners, they kind of fixed that issue, because they knew that if you want to get your run game, you got to go ahead and get some protection up front. You got to go ahead and win the battle at the trenches, and they kind of move some pieces around, and it looks like it's starting to work. They're running a different scheme, I believe. So that's starting to take shape, and obviously we still need guys up front. You don't like Parham, and I think we move on for Parham, right? Colton Miller most likely will stay around. I don't know if we keep Andre James. Most likely he's going to go. I don't know if he stays or goes, I should say. Mumford, I think Mumford's on IR still. So I don't know if he stays or goes either. That's a name that we haven't said. He got injured, I think, the middle of the season or something like that. So obviously we still need help. Meredith. Yeah.
Once he's healthy, I like him in there. I don't mind him at all. The two that really need to go is Parham and Andre James. Just get something for him. Do what you can with them, because I don't think either one of them are free agents. So
Right.
if somebody wants them, you want a center that's halfway decent. There you go.
There
he
you
is.
go. We
He can
got
play
our guy.
guard too, so there you go. Send him off.
Yeah, we got our guy, and
Parham.
most likely
If you need a water boy or a tackling dummy, you're gonna have him. Sorry, I'm just
if
so
you need
sour on the guy.
if
I know
you
I've
just
been
need a
brutal on
body
him.
to stand out there and look at the
Yeah.
sky,
You know,
that's your
parking
guy.
lot attendant, you can have him too.
There you go. Equipment manager.
I know. If I ever meet this guy in person and he ever finds out after the shit I said about him, he's gonna probably want to beat my ass.
Oh man.
I'm
I'm pretty
being
sure you're
truthful.
not the only guy.
I'll just put my
Jack
glasses
says,
on.
yeah, right. Put your glasses on, take everything
You won't hit a guy with glasses, right?
Right. Jack says, I don't want Sam Darnold. I'd rather go for Fields or Watson gets cut. It would be like Russ Wilson, like last year, super cheap. I don't think they're gonna cut Watson. It's just they just restructured the guy, so they can give him guaranteed money.
I mean, who knows? I mean, he could pull something stupid where
He could.
I'm willing to bet in his contract now, there's something in there. If he does something dumb like he did when he was in Houston, that they can void his contract. So I mean, all it takes is one wrong, stupid move and a moment of weakness for him, and he does the same thing, and it's bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
But then if that's the reason, do we want to get involved in that? Not really.
No, this is the worst place for him to be here.
Yeah, we got enough shit to worry about.
Yeah, there's so much temptation at every corner, man. It's ridiculous. He says Darnold could have the best record in the NFC after today's game. Yeah, we'll see what happens.
Tomorrow night's game, not tonight. Today's Saturday.
Oh, is it tomorrow? Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe he got to.
Yeah, last game of the season.
Yeah. Arnie, salute to Arnie. Thank you for watching, brother.
What's up, brother?
Jeff is the truth. Yeah. But yeah, again, I don't know. I don't know if we go for Darnold again. It would cost a lot if that's the direction that the Raiders want to go in. We would know that they're not going to go out and draft a first round quarterback. That's for sure.
Nah.
The likelihood or not, maybe they could fuck around and surprise us, right? I mean, you never know, but I don't see that happening. But yeah, obviously that is also the next question. And I know we've touched base a lot on this. Is that do the Raiders trade up to get Shador or Cam? Obviously, we are number 8 right now. If we lose, I believe we go to number 5 or 4, but most likely 5, right? Do we go down if we win?
If we win, I
stay
think
at 8?
the highest we can finish based on how the other teams around us do, the highest we can go is 10, I believe someone said.
Mm-hmm.
Someone sat and figured it all out and everything. That
So
hurt my
10 would be
old brain.
10.
Yeah, I think
If
the
we
highest
win,
we can go is 10.
okay.
I was kind of hoping we could fall to like 15, so we wouldn't even have to worry about thinking about getting Sanders or Ward, because you already know my take on them.
Oh yeah.
I'm not a fan of either,
Mm-hmm.
especially after their 2 last bowl games. After watching what Ward did, and then just, I mean, Jesus Christ, supposedly a mobile quarterback, and he finished the game with negative 35 yards. How is he not getting out of the way? Why? And people give AOC shit. I know AOC didn't finish with negative yards.
Yeah.
My
But
granddaughter just walked in. Hey, sweetie.
yeah.
I got a window right here in front of me, so I
Really? Oh,
can see the
nice.
breezeway. Yeah, it's like an ice cream window.
But yeah, I mean, they had 2 not good. Shador had a terrible game.
Yeah.
And then you have Cam, who sat out the second half of that bowl game, right? Though when he did play,
Just open the door.
he did look pretty good. He did put up, I believe, 3 touchdowns in that game, so that body of work looked pretty good. But for
Yeah.
sure, it was a long night. 4 sacks. Yeah, like you said, I think he had negative yardage on that, and I don't know. His stock, I don't think he's the number 1 pick. I don't think Shador is now the number 1 pick for sure. I'm pretty sure
I
Cam
don't even
is.
think it's Travis Hunter anymore either.
So we don't know. His stock fell down too. So, but I'm still thinking Travis probably goes number 2, 3.
He's gonna
But
go to
yeah,
wherever
Shador.
Jacksonville finishes. If he makes it to Jacksonville, that's who they're probably gonna take.
Yeah.
You
So
know,
we'll
Ward
see.
will probably go to the Giants or Sanders,
Mhm.
and who knows what the Giants are gonna pull.
Yeah. That.
Tennessee's going to be looking for a quarterback. They're not going back into another season with Will Levis.
Mhm.
They're another team right there that just can't get their quarterback situation straightened out.
Yeah.
They've been in a mess for a couple of years now with their quarterbacks. So I see one of those two going to Tennessee and New York. Those are the 2 teams that are probably going to take them too. That's why I don't think we have a shot at either one of those. And no, I do not want to waste the draft pick moving up.
Mhm.
Absolutely not. The last thing we need to do is lose draft equity, because that means we're giving up more than just the first round pick too. That means we're
Yeah.
giving up something either later in this draft or something in next year's draft. And I don't want to handcuff us like that. That's
Mhm.
going to screw us over in the future.
Yeah. But yeah, you guys let me know your guys' thoughts on this. As always, chat lives do better. Jason says Cam Ward would be my dream come true. All right. Gotcha. I don't know if we can get him, but still could be a possibility. Again, it all depends on who's ahead of us, whether or not we go up. For sure, Shadur's stock, I believe, went down because of that game. It was just a pretty bad game. You got beat by BYU. I mean,
BYU
BYU.
is not they're a good team.
Yeah.
It's just one of the higher caliber teams that they've played against this season. And they ran into a buzzsaw that day. I mean, plain and simple.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's see. Fear says what Ward did was smart, and the team was cool with it because it was predetermined. Yeah, I mean, obviously, you don't want to go into this offseason hurt, so makes sense. But yeah, I mean, we only got to see a limited time of Cam. Though you still can you can base the whole thing off his season, but we did see a limited body of work from him on that first half. But he put up three touchdowns. He gave him the lead going into that half. So I don't know, but uh, Chris says, "Why are we talking Shadur after his bowl game? He was horrible." Still got to talk about it, man. He's still in the news. He's still a prospect for us. That's somebody that the Raiders have not really openly, but almost openly said that we're going to try to go after. The relationship with Brady and Mark is relevant, and so he's still going to be an option for the Raiders if they pursue that path, which most likely it looks like that's going to go ahead and be the case. But
Well, and also the fact that there's so many Raider fans that have blinders on, and all they see is Ward, Sanders, Ward, and Sanders, Ward, and Sanders. They don't look at the
I
big picture.
I looked
You
at
know,
all these bowl games because I watched Gabriel. Gabriel, though, he didn't win his game. He started running that comeback, and he looked. There was flashes of him where he looked really good.
mm.
Dart, man,
Scott
that
looked
dude
out
just
of his
throwing
mind. I
strikes.
mean, he
Yeah,
he he
he's throwing
played a great
darts.
game, plain and
Yeah,
simple. I mean,
yeah.
in my eyes, his stock rose.
Oh yeah,
I think right now there's two players in these most current bowls that I think their stock really kicked it into high gear. Dart is definitely one of them, and Scatterbo. I mean,
Scatabo.
that kid left nothing on the field after that game. That kid gave
Yeah,
it every ounce that he had in his being.
mhm,
I mean,
yeah.
to the point where he was so physically drained. I mean, they just showed video of him on the sideline throwing up. The kid was so physically exhausted by the end of that game. They didn't lose it because he didn't play well. That's for damn sure. I
Oh
mean, he
yeah,
gave them
definitely.
every opportunity to win that game.
Yeah,
That
and
that
that's
that that kid's a baller. That's a
yeah.
kid I would love to have on our team.
Yeah, and I know we've been talking about it for a while, but I think I finally started seeing stuff about him connected to the Raiders. I think Hondo started, threw his name out there as a possible, uh, option for the Raiders to go ahead and draft, and I think that would be a good fit. Uh, it's just his physicality, his mentality towards the game, that intensity that screams Raiders.
He shows up
Sometimes
prepared.
there's certain dudes that kind of line up and mesh with what how we play football. So he's definitely one of those guys. Sal says I don't see Raiders trading up. Maybe, maybe not. Again, what Mark wants, he wants a quarterback. And I think he's already told Telesco uh, kind of openly and then behind closed doors, you need to go out and get a quarterback. So that might be the case. We might see that trade up. We don't know how that's going to look like. We don't know if there's a first rounder going to be given up for next year as well, or a third, because we have that extra third, mind you guys, from that trade for Devontae. So we have two third-round picks
GT, is that you?
um, coming up. So um,
GT.
Chris says we need to go with tackle, cornerback, edge in that first pick. I don't know. I feel the need really where the need is. I mean, you still need it in defense, but uh, the point right now where the dire need is going to be offensively. Aside from quarterback, wide receiver is going to be the the other main focal point. Then you
Hmm.
got running back, right? Then you have your linemen, your offensive guys. So I think if they don't get a quarterback, it's going to be a wide receiver. T Mac, if he's available, I like Trey Harris from Ole Miss. He played recently the other day, so those guys are going to be the option. I think there was somebody else thrown out there as well. I think Jaden Higgins from Iowa. That's another possibility. So, and then we just talked about Scattaboo. So Scattaboo might be an option we pick up, and maybe third. I think that guy could go up to maybe third round, fourth round. I don't know. I don't know. His stock rose, but not a lot. I think he might be going third round. So we'll see what happens. Obviously,
I
um,
My honest opinion, I don't think Scatabo makes it to the third round. I know originally he was slated for like a third rounder or further, but I think he rose that high. I think
mhm.
Genty dropped a little bit too. I think he's going down.
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, he might go in the second. He might go in the
I mean, there's a
second.
there's a good chance he could. I mean,
Mhm, mhm. I did see a mock where somebody traded that extra third for another second. So that could be an option.
oh, the
Um,
pick that we have.
mhm, to
I'm
get another
you know
second.
what, and I've said that too. I said that with you too. That I'm fine with trading that third round pick because it's a pick we didn't have to begin with. So it's a
Right.
luxury pick, basically, is how I
And
look at it.
especially if we go up. Yeah, if we go
Yeah,
up.
and if we can move back into the second round by giving up that third pick, that third round, if we're still going to have another third rounder anyway, we didn't
Yeah,
lose one.
yeah.
We're just
We
going to take that third rounder and move it into a second. So now we'll have 2 seconds and just the one third. I'm fine with
yeah,
that too.
yeah,
I have
no, for sure.
no problem with that.
Yeah. My opinion says Sanders is going number 1 or 2. That game means nothing. It's just one game. Yeah.
I mean, some
Just
scouts will say it doesn't mean anything, but in my eyes, I think it meant a lot. But
yeah.
what do
I
I
mean,
know? I'm just some fat bastard on the East Coast.
fat bastard in the Southwest right here. So but I mean, the scouts look at every game.
Oh
Though
yeah,
if it was already, predetermined that he was going to sit out
step
the second
asylum.
half, obviously
Yeah,
you take count of that body of work for that first half, and you make your assessment from there, right? How did he look? Because the other team's still going to bring it. So whether he was able to go ahead and get out of pressure situations, if he's able to go ahead and hit his targets, decision making, all that is relevant. So they'll still take that a little bit of that game and take it into account um, towards the scouting. So Fear says if Brady has anything to do with it, and he has everything to do with it, we're going for Sanders. All right. Definitely a real possibility. Like I said, Davis
I
wants
hope he
a
shows up
quarterback.
late to work that day.
He gets a flat tire. Oh,
Yeah,
this guy will
and
phone
his
that
cell
shit
phone
in.
doesn't work. No
Yeah,
reception.
my reception. I'm in a dead zone. Yeah, that was funny. Let's see. Okay. Boat Lightning says Cam Scottaboo is from Sacramento. That's what I want to get. Could still be in the third round, possibly, but he might go in the second. He got his stock did rise up. Um,
Plus, don't forget you got Senior Bowl games coming up, and you got the combine too. So that could also make a big difference too. That could move him up,
yeah, yeah, for sure.
even without that
Uh,
game he just had. That could still move him up.
yeah. Uh, oh, that's you. Wait.
No, that's not me.
Oh, that's
That's
not
not.
you. Damn, this is another
That's not
Jeff.
me. That's my
What do we
son.
think?
It
That's
is
just
my
that.
son though. He's
This
out.
is
He's in the
Jeff
living room right
Jr.
now.
Salute. What do we think about free agent QBs like
Hey
Fields
Jay,
and
come
Darnold?
here. Hold on. I'm gonna
All
bring his
right.
dumbass in here. We can see what he's wearing. I
Okay.
know. People won't mind what you're wearing. Trust me.
Wearing a happier team.
Yeah, he's a Vegas Knights fan.
What's up, everyone?
There you go. Salute, brother.
But,
Thank
so
you.
Welcome to
everybody,
the
this is my
show.
son Jeff, and he's not Junior. We don't like calling him Junior. But so there's your
Jeff.
question. He just put it up on the screen. What are
Yeah.
you thinking
There you
about
go.
free agent QBs like Fields and Donald?
I want to hear what a lot of people feel like about Fields because, yeah, he only played. I want to say 6 games this year. He
If
only
that,
played. He only played maybe 6 games, but he looked amazing.
it looked
They
better
did.
than he did in Chicago.
They
Yeah,
did
Oh, he did
replace
look.
him for Wilson, but Wilson also looked really good too.
yeah.
So
And the thing with that is you can't even say that it was a money issue because they signed Wilson to such a small contract. So
Yeah.
it's not like they're overpaying either one of them. They both got them fairly
Denver's
inexpensive.
paying Russell's main contract.
Yeah.
They'll
yeah,
probably
yeah.
pay for a while longer. But Fields is an option. I don't know if Darnold is. If Darnold is, like we were saying earlier, we're gonna end up paying an arm and a leg for that guy. It's gonna be a bidding war for him.
So they can
That's
see your
how
face.
that's how it's gonna go ahead and pan out for him. Obviously, the Vikings want him back, and
Yeah.
they'll try to do everything in their power to go ahead and make that work
Do
over
you think
there.
they?
But
Do you think they'd hang on to McCarthy at that point, or do you think they would
they're gonna
let McCarthy walk and
no,
just stick with? No, you think they'd keep him?
they're gonna keep
Yeah,
him because they went out
that's
and
what I
got this
thought
guy.
too.
It just happened to be that he got injured, and then Sam Darnold is just panning out. He's working out. They don't really want to change that situation, and it's only beneficial for McCarthy to kind of sit out.
He's on a rookie contract.
Yeah, McCarthy's on a rookie contract, so he's not in for huge money either.
And the other thing is, like, Sam Darnold's having an amazing year because, like, you know, he's finally got people to actually throw to, and he's in a system that, like, is actually working. So there is a big difference there. And, you know, he has Addison, right? Addison's on the so he's got Addison. He's got Justin Jefferson. JJ's like he's the best wide receiver in the league. You could make that argument.
Oh yeah.
You know, he's definitely got the power.
100%.
You know.
Yeah, I'd love to have that dude.
With JJ, he'd still be good. He just makes any quarterback look good.
Yeah. Mitch says, "Don't sleep on Dart." Exactly. Dude was fucking lights out the other day. Versus Duke. Go, it's Duke.
Okay.
Yeah, go, it's Duke.
Well, his last name's Dart.
It's still he put up a show.
Well, one of our co-hosts on Wednesday night and my co-host on Raiders Coast to Coast, LV Raider 10, I will give him 100% credit for this. He's been in the corner for Jackson Dart since real early in the season. I mean, I'm talking by like week 2, he was already commenting about Jackson Dart's the guy. Jackson Dart's the guy. I hadn't really watched much of Jackson Dart. I did see a couple of games during the season, but then I watched this past weekend's game, and I would definitely he's piqued my interest as far as a quarterback to look at in this draft. You know, and I'll give full credit to LV Raider 10, our boy Nate. You know, he hit it. He hit it with that one, I think. I mean, hey,
I put that out there too. Come on, give me some credit. I put that out there about 2 months ago.
Yeah, but I knew him before I really got to work with you. So I mean, I heard that from day one with him pretty much. But I'll give you credit too. Yes,
but you know who turned me on?
I'll give him credit too.
You know who turned me on to that to him was Raider Rebel. He really he loves Jackson Dart.
Yeah, he does.
He's like, you gotta look at that guy. You gotta look. I'm like, all right, cool. I'm gonna give this guy a shot. And yeah, he looked good. Obviously he runs that RPO type scheme. So and we saw what he can do. Obviously he does have some drawbacks, but you know, I think he's still a good option for the Raiders to go ahead and pick up in the later rounds. I don't know if he goes out in the first. He's probably going to be a second-round quarterback that gets drafted. So, yeah, obviously, we'll see. We'll see what happens with that. But Arnie says Broncos have a lot of tall receivers. We need Will Johnson first round. Maybe. Jason, 8-10. Arby's is gone within 4 rounds. Such great running back class. Like I said, we like Scatterboo, and I think he's a good prospect. I don't know about Genty, but yeah, he's definitely an option. But again, here Arnie says your opinion matters to the Raider Nation.
Thanks, Arnie. He's a stout supporter of my takes on a lot of stuff.
Sure.
I really appreciate that.
Yes,
my guy.
Yes, and again, if you guys are watching, you guys are new to the show, make sure you guys hit that like and subscribe button. As always, keep continuing to show support. Make sure you guys hop on to my guy's channel, Any_Raiders Booster. Give him a subscribe. Turn on your notifications, guys, because we'll be dropping a lot of stuff randomly. So make sure you guys are always in touch with that. But yeah, so obviously, you know, the other big question here is free agency, right? I know we touched about this the other day on the New Year's Eve special. You know, we kind of capped that a little bit because you know, I wanted to celebrate New Year's. You had to go, so it was late for you. But let's touch a little bit more based on this. Is that who do you keep? Who do you let go? Who do we sign in the offseason? You know, obviously, I want to know your guys' thoughts in the chat. So make sure you guys hit up that chat as well. But yeah, so we got literally last game. We're gonna see one more body work from everybody and a chance to kind of prove themselves whether or not they stay on as Raiders, right? certain people that we already have in mind, and most likely we'll go ahead and part ways with. Parham being one of them. But what are your thoughts? Obviously, I think defensively, I say that obviously we resign. We got to extend Spillane. That's the first order of business.
Agree.
Absolutely.
Chaseon's going to be another one. We go ahead
He
and resign
agrees.
him.
Yeah.
Um, you got a Paul Mal. I think we're definitely keeping him. And Jack Jones is still kind of on the fence. I don't mind him
I could
sticking
take
around.
him or leave him.
Yeah, you can take him or leave him.
I'm
I don't mind
50-50
him
on
staying
him.
around. Yeah, I've been seeing a more consistency, more passion, more heart from that guy, and that's kind of what we want to see. Obviously, we know his flaw; he likes to bite, and on those on that I lost the word for it, but yeah, he likes to bite on the not so much, so he gets a little bit too overzealous, right? So
He gets a little too aggressive for his own
too
taste.
aggressive.
And he wants to go for the kill shot instead of the tackle. That's the
Yeah,
Yeah, he
problem.
reminds me of
yeah,
Abrams.
Yeah, he does.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
yeah.
Flares a
Maybe if
He
little
he
said,
bit.
told,
I don't know
yeah,
if you could hear him well. He reminds him of Jonathan Abrams,
mm,
because Abrams was kind of that way too.
Like a headhunter almost.
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
and then
Yeah, you're right.
yeah, I think if we dialed it back a little bit, obviously, we would see a different Jack Jones. Obviously,
I think he needs to focus
there's
on
some guys that we part ways with. Obviously, you know, Ed Snowden will be one of them. Charles Snowden,
It's too
sorry.
bad. It's too bad with Snowden. I think if he didn't have that little off-field issue,
Hmm.
he would probably be back here again. But I think they're probably just gonna cut ties with him.
Yeah,
Which would suck because now there goes part of your depth for next year.
yeah,
Which is one of our defensive issues. Lack of depth and especially after all the injuries we suffered. You know, so it hurts to
yeah,
lose a player like that. I mean, because he was showing
yeah. It
promise
does.
this year.
He did. He did. He won us that game versus the Browns. So
Hmm.
I was all about that guy, and then like that shit happened. So
Yeah.
definitely gotta take a look at that. The reason why he's even sticking around because we don't have that many guys. We need to kind of keep the bodies in there. Obviously they're most likely going to part ways from him at the end of the year. Stranger shit has happened, so I don't know if that would actually still happen, but you got Hobbs, that guy. If he's cheap enough, we can keep him. If not, if he wants too much, then we let him go ahead and test out that free agency market. Morrig, I wouldn't mind keeping Morrig, right? And then obviously the big question, the big one, Max. Do you extend him or do you restructure him, or do you extend him, or you keep him where he's at? And because he still has a contract, that's what it is. He
Yeah.
still has a
Yeah. He's
contract,
still
no
got
matter
what, 2 more
what.
years? I think he's
Two
got two
more
years
years.
left.
Yeah, but no more guaranteed money.
Yeah.
So that's
With a
his
fourth
gripe right now,
option.
right?
What's the
So he
fourth
wants to go
option?
ahead and make sure
One.
this guy
Oh
he
yeah,
gets
we know
paid,
that.
no matter what, right? I think if he gets injured again, he doesn't get paid.
He
But
he just he just said, he goes, "There's a fourth option." And I said, "What?" He goes, "We deal him." I said, "Well, yeah,
You get a
we've talked
lot for him.
we
we've
I'm
yeah
not.
talked
we
about
I'm
that."
not saying that I'd love to see him go. Max is probably one of my favorite guys that have ever played for the Raiders. Because I'm so young, so I wasn't around for the greats back then. But like Max he's definitely like what I would call like a Raider through and through. Do I want to see him go? Absolutely not. But do I think we could get a lot for him? Oh hell yeah! Even if it's like we get like a conditional second rounder.
Sit down and take over.
No.
I'll go play with my grandma.
No. I'm just saying. It's like I just think like a lot of people are sleeping on trading Max. Honestly, I know. Obviously, he's the face of our team at this point because we don't really have a set identity. But like we could get that. Like there are people out there that we could bring in that could be our face. We can get a new face. Max is like pivotal, but like we have Wilkins now. He got hurt and obviously he didn't do much this year, but give him some time. He's still very good. I'm still holding out hope for Tyree Wilson. I don't think
No.
it's gonna go anywhere crazy, but like I'm still holding out hope. He just needs to like, learn where he needs to be, kind of thing. He's had some flares this year, and he's definitely not Max, but you could replace Max with someone who could be just good enough. And you'd get a lot for him.
Well, yeah, and that's what I said the other day too. Is
Yeah.
when we were talking about this. I mean, if teams come calling, you listen. You sit there on the phone. You're like, all right, well, I know you want Max. What's your offer? And they say we'll give you 1 first-round pick. Well, I'm still listening, but I'm not moving yet. So sweeten it up more.
Right.
You could take in a boatload of picks. And not just like 3rd and 4th and 2nd round. I'm talking like you could get 1, possibly 2 first rounders if you play it right.
Yeah.
You could get 2 from the
So
Lions easy.
that's why don't block out the fact that Max may not be here next year. I mean, it's definitely a possibility. Do I want it to happen? Not really. But if the offer's too good, you got to jump at it. I mean, he's not going to be here forever.
He is not going to be here forever. That's
No.
true. No.
So he's already 5 years now into the league with us. He's still got some youth behind him. His next contract up, that's when he's going to make his money. If we restructure now, or whoever if we end up trading him, whoever he goes to, that's his chance to make his money for his one big payout. Is that time?
I mean,
he's not going to
already
get
had
that 2 years from now, because now he's going to be he's going to be 30 at that point.
Yeah, I mean, he already got paid. He got $98 million from this contract.
But he can make even more right now because he's gotten that much
and they
better
give him more.
sense.
Yeah, they give him a bonus, so he's already at over 100. So he's trying to get that guaranteed money on that restructure. And obviously, if he had it his way, he would go ahead and get extended. But that's the thing. So that's a whole issue. Like we're talking about. Do you hear these offers for Max that come in the off season for a possible trade, whether it's player, capital, draft picks, or all three? You never know. I mean, he could obviously, him being the way he is right now, you could definitely go ahead and ask for those things. You can ask for capital, you can ask for draft picks, multiple draft picks, player, whatever. He's definitely has that price tag on him. But I know you don't like to go ahead and hold on to players and get attached to players. I do. If there's one player that you go ahead and get attached to, is Max Crosby. I've always he's come into the Raiders. I've always banked on him and being that one guy that sticks with us long term. Obviously Carr was the other guy, and I never even thought that this guy was going to leave the Raiders, to be honest with you. And I'm a little bit surprised that it happened when McDummy was here, but it did happen. And not necessarily saying that we didn't need another quarterback. I just said that I never saw this guy departing for the Raiders. I thought he would go ahead and become as a Raider, but that wasn't the case. And that's fine, right? But if Max were to get traded, I think that would hurt. I think a lot of the Raider Nation would not be happy with that. Though we have our opinions here in the chat, and please let me know your guys' opinion. Do the Raiders trade Max if the price is right? Let me know, because this is a serious thing. And obviously, he knew what he was doing when he put that out there, because all this has started again through that podcast show he did, I think a couple of weeks ago, where he talked about Myles Garrett, and then he talked about his contract, and so now you got all this circulating again and rebrewing. And this is basically a contract negotiation tactic by him to go ahead and put pressure on Telesco and Davis to go ahead and give him more money. Plain and simple. And that's the question: do they go ahead and do that? Now, I'm attached to Max. I can only imagine what Davis feels, right? Because that's his boy. That's his boy. They go out, they party together, they go to games together, whatever, right? That's his buddy. So
Jesus.
would Mark Davis really let him go? And that's really the real question. Would he let him go? Because we
Yeah.
say all this shit, but doesn't necessarily mean that it will happen, right? Davis might be like, you know what? I want to keep you here. What is it going to take to go ahead and make that happen? You never know. Mark is very impulsive, and he'll do shit like that. So don't be surprised, y'all, if that ends up being a scenario where we pay Max gets his payout by us, and we shell out all this money for him. And that could be a real possibility. And mind you, imagine we never traded Khalil. It would be Khalil and Max right now. That would have been
and we would have no money. That's
true.
the
we have
downside.
no money, but we
would have no money. Our salary would be consisted of those two guys, sprinkled in with a couple other really good players.
We'd be dealing free agents every single year.
Yeah. We'd be cash strapped big time.
Oh, yeah,
I was looking. I see Asylum's post on there. He goes. The only price that's right is 4 first-round picks. Dude, if we could get 4 first-round picks, I'll trade them anybody they want.
Yeah.
Along with Max for 4 first-round picks. Are you shitting me? Can build up almost half our freaking free agents that we got. Fill those voids if we let most of them go.
I agree with what Arnie just said right there.
Yeah,
too.
but let's go to the chat. Obviously, chat lives matter. But Arnie, Max value will never be higher. Trading out to the Lions for 2 first rounders and second. Okay.
I don't know if you can get 2 first rounders and a second, but like one
I would take
or
the
the
2
other.
first rounders,
even if
they're gonna.
It'll be this one and then next year's, and then
Even if they're late round picks, which based on how they're playing, they're going to be later.
Later
in that
round
first
picks.
round, but I'd still fucking take them because guess what? You get that pick, and now you play your magic and you move further up in the draft with that.
Yeah. John says if we had 2 first round picks, that would help us. Big time Max not going to win us a Super Bowl. We need to build a team.
And I mean, if you really care about the guy, you could send him to a team where he would win a Super Bowl. If Max ends up on the Lions and the Lions are in the Super Bowl, I would absolutely love to root for the Lions, unless they're playing us, obviously, for him to get his ring. Same thing like with Carr. The second Carr left, I was like, I hope he has a fantastic career wherever he's going, because dude was like, he was the man for us. He was the only person putting in the work for a while.
Bloody Raider says Max is on his decline. Let's be real. He never reached Watt status. Don't force fumbles or finish often. Can't rely on him to close out games like Mac did either. I don't know. I think just his presence alone and the pressure he applies, I mean, where they have to literally put in 2 extra bodies sometimes to cover this guy.
Hello. My granddaughter.
There you go.
There she is.
She's beautiful. I know. My daughter just left with.
That's my granddaughter Riley. Hi, sweetie. Sees your little eyes peeking over the top.
Yeah. But Blady says he's on his decline. I don't know. I don't know if he's already on his decline. Obviously, he had that injury this year. He played out most of the season except for the last few games. Obviously, we're not making the playoffs. There's no if he's going to do any type of treatment, it would be now, right, where we're not in any type of playoff contention or anything like that. So it makes sense for him to be out, right? But yeah, obviously we'll see. But Max still has 2 years on his contract, and but no guarantee money. So that's the real thing. That's a real question. Do you restructure him or do you extend him? Because you can still give him a contract extension on top of that and pay him out and have him retire as a Raider, because his shelf life is starting to deplete pretty quickly. And especially when you're paying 110% every fucking snap. Every snap for every game of the season. That's what he was doing literally last year. He played every snap 110%, like a madman. That's why he's Mad Max, right?
Yeah.
But you can't realistically play like that through your whole career. At some point, there has to be you have to go ahead and dial it back, especially if you want to have longevity in this league, right? But you know, uh, Asylum says Max hasn't hit his prime yet. He's had a few injuries the last couple of years. Yeah, he had the knee injury the last year where he had to get surgery for. It swelled up, but he would get it drained, and then he had the ankle injury that he just took care of. So I mean, this is all stuff that you know he has to do to make sure that he's out there and giving his best and putting out a product. That's why we've been having these conversations because he does so much in the off season to prepare for the season. But yeah. Um, let's see. Arnie says, "Would you trade Max for Murray and a first round pick?"
Kyler Murray?
No.
I assume that's Kyle Murray.
Yeah, I wouldn't.
No,
I wouldn't take Murray.
no. I don't even think that Kyle Murray would leave.
Yeah,
Arizona.
No.
Kingsbury couldn't fix him. I don't think anybody can.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, the guy's 5 foot nothing.
Yeah,
I mean,
exactly.
he's like a hobbit for a quarterback.
Yeah.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, but yeah, I mean that's the other, that's the real question whether Max or gets restructured or not. Offensively, we're probably gonna let go of quite a bit of guys. You have Madison, that and White that most likely we're probably gonna go ahead and part ways with. Abdullah is still kind of up in the air. He's had a pretty good games. We have Sincere McCormick that's most likely going to get re-signed and stick around for at least another season or two and see what he could really do with the full season. Obviously, we're going to go ahead and get a running back in this upcoming draft. AOC's not going
one
anywhere.
Free agent too.
Mm-hmm.
We can definitely get one
not going
free
anywhere.
agency.
Najee's
What's that?
a free agent.
I said we can get one in free agency too.
Yep.
Exactly. Get a bona fide veteran along with still drafting a rookie, along with McCormick. That's a pretty decent backfield right there.
Right.
You bring Najee in as your bona fide number one. You let the other two kind of groom behind him. Sign Najee to a 2-year contract. It's going to be short money. It's not going to be expensive. You're not going to rake us over the coals.
Right. Yeah. No, for sure.
I just don't want Chubb. I know everybody's been saying Chubb. No, I'm not sold.
Nah, he like blew both of his legs apart.
Yeah, there's too many injuries.
No.
Yeah, that's nasty. But and then you got I think Jacoby. I think he's still under contract. Not. I think next year, the following year is when he goes free agent. And then everybody, Trey Tucker, obviously still that speedy, deep threat. We're still going to need him, but as we saw, his route running is not the greatest, so he's just more of that deep threat guy. Everybody else in the receiver room are probably going to go. Maybe keep Turner as a second string or third string, but other than that, everybody else is probably going to go. And we talked about the linemen. Parham gone. Andre James gone. You might keep Meredith. You might keep Mumford. Colton Miller might stick around as well. But obviously, we need some more guys from the draft or free agency. You can mix a little bit of both and really starting to strengthen up that offensive line. And I'm glad that it's actually being looked at this past year, and it looks like it's at least on Telesco's radar to fix forward, because you have to.
Well, it worked out where you brought in two young pieces to the puzzle in JPJ and Glaze. So now you just need to put your attention on finding two guards in free agency or the draft and your next future left tackle. Because Colton Miller's been having injury issues. You can see his left arm is still affected by it. Just watch him in pass protection. He doesn't get that right arm up as fast as he normally does to get it up there for pass protection. You can just see his motion. He's gotten better as the season's gone on. You can tell it's healing, but he's still hurting. So you're definitely going to need a left tackle for the future.
Yeah.
So I mean, really, that's easily fixable between the draft and free agency, getting enough bodies in, and that's where, like you called out Meredith and um oh my god, what was the other offensive lineman you
Mumford?
said? Mumford.
Mumford? Yeah.
You
Because he's
keep
on
those guys
IR.
as
Yeah.
you keep those guys as depth, along
Mhm.
with whoever else you bring in too.
Yep.
So the offensive line is not that hard to fix this offseason. I really don't think
No.
it is. I think it's totally doable and on the cheap. You
Hmm.
know,
Hmm.
I
For sure.
think we can definitely handle that with no problem.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's just
But
skill
let's go.
positions we
Yeah.
need to really put some attention to.
Definitely. Let's go ahead and go to the chat. Asylum says need depth pieces for O line after replacing the guards. X. Sal says sign a vet OG tackle. There you go. My opinion says we do need to build an O line first. So everybody is basically in agreement over here that we need to go ahead and beef up that O line. Um, Obviously, it was better than at the beginning of the season. Now it's better than the beginning of the season where they just look fucking lost. And we couldn't block for shit. But now it's starting to look better. It's starting to pan out, and we just might need a few pieces to make that happen. Raider Ryan, salute. Bye, Diablo. I don't know. Yeah, maybe that's the guy that we let go again. I think he's a free agent, and depends
I
how much
won't
he
shed a
wants.
tear.
Too
I think you
expensive,
signed him to a
we can part
1 year
ways
deal.
and get somebody else, right? That's a great thing. We're having to step up. We're having other guys step up, and we're
Hmm.
finding diamonds in the rough. And it's a
I
beautiful
mean, just
thing.
look at Palomao. I mean, if it wasn't for some of the injuries this season, we never would have really seen him out on the field.
Hmm.
And he's been a bright spot in that secondary. I mean, some of those hits he's put on the last few weeks, and just the ability to go for the ball and knock it out of the receiver or the ball carrier's hand.
Hmm.
I mean, the kid's like a heat seeking missile out there. So I like that kid. I like him a lot too.
Yeah. Jack has a question to us. A wide receiver or cornerback for Michigan, if not addressing free agency.
I like Johnson,
I like
the
Johnson too.
cornerback.
Yeah. That he'll be a good fit.
He's
Yeah,
an
we need
immediate
another.
plug and
Uh
play.
huh.
Boom, done.
Mm-hmm.
If
Definitely,
that's your first
100%.
pick, you just scored. It's
Yeah.
one of our blaring weaknesses. There's no two ways about it.
Hmm.
You
That
know,
secondary is trash.
we need a
They need to work it out.
shutdown guy, and there's your guy.
Yeah. Jason says we should go all in for the O line and free agency.
I mean, we could.
Uh, that
We
this is the
definitely
thing,
could.
though. Yeah, we could, but this is the thing. Normally, and from what I've seen from the previous years, is that most of the guys available in free agency, um, they're let go for a specific reason, most likely to injury or performance. Normally, linemen like to go ahead and re-sign with their team because they already have that continuity with the rest of the
Hmm.
guys. So it makes sense for them to kind of stick with their team if they're performing well. They already have that familiarity instead of going to a different team, learning a different system. You're a lineman, you could speak more to this, right, Jeff? So obviously that matters. So you don't see a lot of big names being out there in free agency for long. They usually kind of resign with their team. But yeah, it would definitely need to beef it up for sure.
Yeah, I mean,
100%.
I personally did that in the middle of a season, playing for a
Mhm.
semi-pro team. I went from playing for a team in Providence and started playing for a team up in Bellingham, Mass.
Mhm.
And I ended up going back to the original team because it just didn't feel right with that other team. The continuity definitely was not there. They were still a young, raw team.
Mhm.
And I was at that time, I was still one of the oldest players on that team, and it just didn't fit right, you know. So I ended up going back to the original team. I mean, the guys were all pretty much more my age, and you know,
Mhm.
we just gelled as an offensive line on that
Yeah.
team from Providence. We were good.
Yeah, and like you said, that stuff is important, and you see it. you see it play out on the field. Everybody being on the same page. Salute to Lewis. Thank you for watching, brother. We must hold Max, build a better line, and get a decent O line. I agree. I agree.
Unless the
Uh,
price is right.
I don't know. I don't know. I have my thoughts on that. I don't know. I don't want to. I don't
I
want to
know.
let Max go. Yeah,
See,
but
I'm taking my heart out of the equation.
I know you're cutthroat businessman right here. Yeah.
It is,
Normally I'm the
unfortunately,
same
it's a
way.
business.
Football team is a
Yeah,
business.
normally I am the same way, but just Max, man. I can't let that guy go. Max is going to want all the money, and there is nothing going to be fixed. Uh, Obviously, that's Telesco's job to fix it. He has to go in there and put a better team for the Raiders. That's he has his mandate. Mark wants a quarterback. And most likely that's what they're going to go ahead and pursue. But there's other holes that have to be filled, and that's also what we are talking about. We're talking about the receiver, talking about
Mhm.
running back, cornerback. We just talked about Will Johnson, right? So all these things, the depth that the defense has to have, beefing up that O line, all that is relevant. It doesn't happen overnight. It does take a while for it to happen, and we're starting to see that in this past draft. Now we're going to the next draft, and we're starting to see little bits and pieces kind of fall into place. So it'll be interesting to see what Telesco does and who he drafts. Um, and I think we were so invested last year in this draft. I think we're even more invested in this draft, not only just because of Cam and Shadur, but now we're starting to talk about these other names and how they can go ahead and fit into our team and how they would perform. I think it just makes it like really interesting to see how this draft actually pans out. But yeah. Again, thank you guys for watching. Make sure you guys hit that like and subscribe button as always. And I'm trying to get to that 100 subscriber mark. Make sure you guys wipe your feet, hit that subscribe button, turn on notifications. Make sure you jump on my guys Jeff's channel, NE_Raiders Boosters. Give him a subscribe, turn on your notifications as always. But we are going to go ahead and move in to our final topic. What are our final thoughts? Obviously, tomorrow is the last game of the season, and we can go ahead and wash the season off. Has not been the greatest season of all. A lot of lows, some highs. Obviously, we have back-to-back wins, possibly another 3-game winning streak. We can go on tomorrow and end the season on a high note. But what are your thoughts on the season, on the performances, the drama, all that shit? Because man, it's been it's been an interesting one for sure.
It has. It's been, to say it's been a roller coaster is an understatement. I mean, it's been it, it's been a rough season because of the fact that how we ended last year and how this whole season started. You felt like we were going in the right direction at the end of the year last year with how the defense played down the stretch, how the whole team as a whole responded to AP as the interim coach, and how he garnered pretty much the respect of all the players on the roster. Um, AOC 12 showed promise, made you feel good going into this season, and then the season starts, and it feels like, is this the same team that we saw at the end of the year last year? Because they sure as hell aren't playing like it. Um,
Right.
so week one, it's a game against the Chargers, a rival. Those are always tough, no matter who we're playing. You know, second game of the season, we pull the card and we get Baltimore in Baltimore, and we win that one. So now you start feeling good again. So this is where the early roller coaster started. And then we lose the next one, and the team starts to look shitty again. And then here comes Cleveland, squeak by Cleveland, and then we just plummet. And then
Yeah.
there's no more going uphill until 2 weeks ago. So it was just a steady decline. Minshew looked horrible. offensive coordinator couldn't get out of his own way. If he was horrible with calling plays and
Mhm.
the schemes we were running. So now we're at the bye week. We get rid of him. We switch over to Scott Turner and North Turner as the OC and special advisor.
Yeah.
Philbin comes in as our offensive line coach. Someone asked a question earlier about position coaches, who's improved. Philbin, as far as I'm concerned, has earned a pass to stay with this team again next year, regardless of who the coach is, if they want to keep him, obviously, because I think he's made the biggest impact on this team. That offense, the defense spoke for itself. The defense has been playing decent despite all the injuries.
Right.
Offensive line, it was like a complete 180 once Philbin took over and they changed their system and their scheme. You could tell they went to more of a power blocking system. JPJ's inserted as the starting center. Glaze was always on the right side. So, I mean, you started to see stability on that front line, and that offensive line.
Mhm.
And you started to feel good because you could see we were getting better. And were we the worst team during the season? Not necessarily, because we almost beat Kansas City twice.
Yeah.
We got 5 sacks on them in one game,
Mhm.
which if somebody would have told me that without even seeing a minute of that game, I would say you're full of shit because there's no way we did that against Kansas City.
Oh yeah.
Well, we did, so it's just we're on that uphill climb now
Mhm.
going into the final game of the season. We could finish with a 3-game win streak, which is always a good sign for the next season and gives your
Right.
players that are going to be here next year confidence and something to look forward to the next year, you
Right.
know, especially with if we pick up the same success in the draft that we had in 2024 in 2025's draft, that just gives you even more hope.
Mhm.
If we overreach and oversell our our draft position for quarterbacks, that's just going to do away with whatever we accomplished in these last 3 wins in my eyes. So I'm glad the season's going to be over after tomorrow because it's
Yeah.
been it seems like it's been a
Gotta
30
watch.
game season at this rate.
I know.
It really does.
Shit,
You know,
man.
and every week getting on these shows and we're all just throwing out the same verbal regurgitation of the same shit because nothing's changed. You see slight
Yeah.
positivity, but it's always this guy sucks, this guy hates that coach, this player needs to go, until those
Yeah.
changes are made. That's why this offseason is going to be so much fun and I can't wait for it because there's a
Yeah.
lot to
Same.
come.
It's a lot. It's a lot.
A
And
lot.
make sure you guys still tap in because obviously free agency you're gonna start to see that happen really soon. And then obviously drafts in April, and Cheeto's gonna be out there with a couple other guys, so that'll be interesting to see. um you know that draft is highly expected, and obviously the biggest question is are we gonna really get Cam Shador? Are they gonna trade up? Or are they gonna stay wherever they're at? Yeah. So I mean, I don't know. I'm glad that we have this final game and we're ready to go ahead and wash the season off. I think a lot of us have going through all the shit this season, having a 2 and something record up until literally 3 weeks ago. There you go, AFC 2025. But having a 2 and whatever season up until literally 3 weeks ago, right? And now we're starting to see some type of positivity, but a little too late. But it's good at least seeing that they're out there, they're still trying, they're still playing their asses off, and that's something that we want to see from this team. I think the lowest point of this whole season was that Rams game. It's like literally seared in my mind. The whole just Minshew coming in and just being god
Stinking up
awful,
the joint.
sinking
Yeah.
up the joint. It was a terrible fucking. And that was a game that we should have won. We should have won that game,
There were a
and we
lot of
failed
games
to
we
do
should
There
that.
were a lot of games. Yeah,
We lost a lot of
Yeah,
them.
there was a lot
we
of
lost
games,
a lot
and
of
that's the
close
way.
games.
And I agree with you that we weren't the worst. Our record was one of the worst ones, but doesn't mean that we were the worst team. Obviously, the Giants were pretty shitty, but there was a lot of close games
Mm.
that we fought hard that we almost pulled it out. Right, for one reason or another, it just didn't. The ball didn't swing our way at the end of the day, and we couldn't make that happen. But there was a lot of tough fought games that we could have won. But obviously, I'm glad to go ahead and put the season to bed and focus on 2025, the off season, and like I said, there's still a lot of things that is to come. Aside from free agency, the draft, coaches, offensive coordinator, but that actually goes into my final thing here. But I'm gonna be doing mock draft coming the next episodes. Really kind of seeing once the season ends and whether we win or lose, we'll know our final position, and then there we can do a mock draft show where uh, either we stay where we're at, we don't move up, or we trade up and see if we can get um, our quarterbacks if that's the route that we decide to go. And plus, not only that, now that we're having all these other players that we're starting to move on from the Shador and Cam focus and starting to really open up our eyes. Who else should we draft in second, third, fourth rounds? Because that stuff is important. Because that also is part of our future, not just one guy, right?
And there's going to be
So,
a lot of good players available in those
a
rounds too.
lot of good players that are becoming available. So obviously, my whole thing is that I want to make sure that I open you guys' eyes to other possibilities aside from Cam and Shador, and that's always been my focus since earlier in the season when I started talking about Jackson Dart. When I started talking about Dylan Gabriel, these are the other, Rourke from Indiana, but these are other options that we can go ahead and pursue aside from Shador Gam. Because if we have a repeat of 2024 draft where they steal Daniels, where they steal Penix, and we get caught with our pants down again, we're just like, what the fuck do we do now? These are the other options. This is the other thing that we can go ahead and kind of bank on to still have hope, to still try to get a quarterback for our future. And it's not a bad thing that these guys sit out for a season and learn the system. It only helps them. It only, uh, you know, um, works towards their future and the future
Hmm.
with us because it looks like AOC is going to be our guy next year. And that's if AP stays. So we'll see what happens, right? And but that would be a good thing for that guy to sit behind AOC and learn the system as as it progresses, right? But yeah, that is coming. Mock drafts coming next episodes. So make sure you guys are tapping into that again. Make sure you guys hit that like and subscribe button. As always, wipe your feet. Make sure you guys go ahead and turn on your notifications. Again, I'm gonna be doing this show every Saturday for the next month at 10 a.m. Pacific. That is 1 p.m. Eastern. Um, and then I'm probably gonna be moving on to every other week after that. Once we go deeper into the off season and things slow down a little bit. Raider Connection, we're gonna be doing that every Wednesday uh, until we say otherwise at this point. But make sure you guys are tapping into the show. Raiders Coast to Coast. You guys are going back onto your Thursday schedule,
Yeah,
right?
starting next. Yeah, starting next week. The holidays kind of really screwed all of our shows up. The Raider Connection and the Raiders Coast to Coast. With the Christmas Eve and New Year's Eve falling on a Tuesday,
Hmm.
and then Christmas Day and New Year's Day being on Wednesdays, it just kind of moved everything around. So we'll be back on a regular schedule starting next week. So
Hmm.
next week will probably be a little bit longer than usual show because I think I got to talk to Nate. What we're gonna do is I want to try and do like a little recap on the season. Not go like game by game. That's just too much. Recap the game from Sunday and then just go how our feelings. What we think for the season. How the season went and everything, and just kind of do like a end of year wrap up, and then just start getting ready for results from what happens with Black Friday. I mean Black Monday, possibly Black Sunday. Who knows?
Yeah.
Now, Lonnie, real quick, I know you asked how many spots will we go up if we lose. We'll move up. I think. What'd you say, 5, Jay? I know
Yeah, I think we end up at 5 if we
yeah, we can
lose
end up at 5
tomorrow.
if we lose. If we win, and based on everybody else around us, the furthest back in the draft we can go is number 10. So we got to swing from 10 to 5, in that range is where we're going to end up.
Mhm.
So either way, still a top 10 pick, which is pretty good.
Yeah,
And I think, in all honesty, I think Atlanta did us a favor last year by grabbing Penix, because that forced us to take Bowers. We
Yeah.
never would have had him if that was the case.
Yeah.
And then God only knows where we would be this year. At least
definitely.
that one player kind of like was like the lone real bright spot of this team and organization this year. Was it was one thing for us to be unified and happy about, is watching a rookie tight end of his caliber do what he did on a bad team with shitty quarterback play, shitty offensive line play, and
Yeah.
this kid just broke all these rookie tight end records,
Yep.
and tight end records too, So
Gonna be the rookie of the year.
he should be, but he won't.
He should be the rookie of the year. If he's not rookie of the year,
it's going to be
fucking
Jaden Daniels. It
revolting.
statistically always goes to a freaking quarterback.
You know what's funny about that?
If Jaden Daniels sucked, if he had a stat year like Caleb Williams did in Chicago, then yeah, it would have been Brock Bowers hands down. There'd be no other choice.
You should look at their stats together. Caleb Williams and Jaden Daniels.
They're like
night and day.
No, they're almost identical. No, they are. Jaden Daniels has more
They're identical. What if you flip them the other way?
No, they're fully identical. The only difference is Jaden Daniels has a better team around him. Caleb Williams is on a terrible team with a terrible scheme with a terrible office.
Well, yeah, I mean the coach got fired halfway through the year. What do you expect?
Yeah.
Their stats are scary similar.
I mean, Jaden will most likely win if they go past the first round. I think it's still up in the air if he doesn't make it out of the first.
I mean, he's the reason they're going to the playoffs. The Redskins wouldn't be in the playoffs if it was any other quarterback. I don't think. I can't imagine any other rookie quarterback taking them there.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe Bo Nix on how he's played in Denver. If he was, but again, Lane Kiffin makes all the difference in the world on that team. Mm-hmm. As your OC, I mean, look what he's done.
Yeah, no doubt. Yeah, that'll be interesting to see who wins that Rookie of the Year. But obviously, Brock Bowers is a definite contender on that. But make sure you guys catch Raiders Coast to Coast on Thursdays. What time do you guys go on? 7 p.m.
7 p.m. West Pacific time. We go on at 10 my time.
All right.
Just like on the Raider Connection, we go on at 10 o'clock my time, 7 yours. Right? You're in the same time zone, or are you an hour off from them?
I am an hour ahead. So right now,
so it goes on at 9
p.m.
for you.
Me. Yeah. So, make sure you guys tap into that. Make sure you go on my boy LV Raider 10's channel, give him a subscribe as well. Make sure you guys tapping into those shows. And as me, as always, I am doing this damn thing every Saturday morning. Good morning, Raiders, with y'all. So make sure you guys have your cup of coffee ready, ready to talk Raider football and all the rumors and everything else that is Raider related, 100%. But thank you, Jeff, for being on the show. I appreciate you. We're at that 2-hour mark, so we're going to go ahead and wrap this thing up.
Make sure everybody subscribes and likes this show for Jay on his page, please. Give him some love. Deserves it. He's working his ass off to get
92 subscribers, guys. 8 more for 100. Let's do it. Come on.
Yeah.
Make sure you guys wipe your feet for that.
Subscribe to the channel. Good. I was going to tell you to after this.
Came on,
well, you got one. He subscribed.
Appreciate you.
Maybe I should too. Should I subscribe?
Nah.
No.
I would hope so, man. But yeah. Remember, last game of the season tomorrow, and I'll do my post-game reaction show after that, and we'll break that game down, and we'll discuss our feelings about that and how we cap off that season because you feel different after the last game, knowing that we won't see any more football for what 9 more months, 6 more months. I don't know how long it is.
It's a long
Yeah.
off season.
It's a long off season.
But
So it'll
the
be quite a
fortunate
while
thing
before.
for us is it's going to be active, so that'll be interesting.
Oh yeah, it would be very
Yeah,
active.
very
But,
active.
That'd be.
So
but again, thank you
hope
guys.
we're not all jumping on tomorrow night to discuss the bad Black Sunday.
Yep.
But
Yep,
if that's what it is, that's what it is. So
yes, all right. But again, thank you guys for watching. Appreciate you guys. Raider
Have a good
Nation,
day.
as always, thank you. And again, always remember, just Raiders, baby.
go Raiders.
Yes, sir.